If you're not willing to be uncomfortable, what you're going to do is you're going to take action, usually unstrategic action, to avoid feeling what you're feeling, and you're going to end up somewhere where you don't want to be. I'm Amy Porterfield, ex-corporate girl turned CEO of a multi-seven-figure business. But it wasn't all that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the budget, and the time to focus on growing my small but mighty business. Fast forward past many failed attempts and lessons learned, and you'll see the business I have today. One that changes lives and gives me more freedom than I ever thought possible. One that used to only exist as a daydream. I created the Online Marketing Made Easy podcast to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur or one in the making who's looking to create a business that makes an impact and a life you love, you're in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Online Marketing Made Easy. I've got a question for you. Have you ever been in a situation where something just hasn't worked out? Maybe your launch totally flopped, or some kind of promotion you put together just fell flat on its face, or maybe you sold too aggressively and it just felt ick, or you completely exhausted your email list and people are jumping off left and right and not converting anymore. These things happen to all of us, right? Whatever it is, you messed up and you're freaking out and you don't know what the right solution is to fix it, but you know you need to take action and do something. So in your fit of desperation, without really thinking it through, you jump right into something else to do some damage control. So perhaps you go right into another promo, or maybe you think up a totally new product. Like, that didn't work. I'm going to throw that out and I'm going to come up with something new, which, I feel like is the death of entrepreneurship, for the record, but another topic for another day. Or maybe you dream up a whole new division of your company. I remember Chloe, who used to work with me as my CMO, I used to tease her all the time. I knew when she was freaking out or totally overwhelmed because she would redo her org chart for her department. She'd come to me in a meeting. She'd be like, so I was thinking maybe we should change the department around to do this and hire this person and move this person. And I'd look at her and I'd say, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed really are you right now? And she'd slow down and say, I'm at a 10. And so she would just dream up a whole new department essentially when she was stressed. And I think it's so normal when you've got that kind of freaking out feeling just to want to change it all or fix it right away. Very normal. The challenge is when it comes from a place of desperation, you cobble it all together when you are not your best self. And you're left with something that lacks strategy and direction and just common sense. And I'm kind of cringing right now because I have so done this many times, to be quite honest. And all these sudden moves are the byproduct of what I like to call desperate energy. So you're rushing and you're just doing everything you can so you don't have to feel the pain of not hitting the goal or not being where you want to be. I want to repeat that. Sometimes we jump into something else or we change everything up or we make really bold moves without a lot of strategy behind them because we are rushing to do something so that we don't have to feel the pain of not hitting the goals or not being where we want to be. But the problem is with desperate energy, you don't think things through and you make snap decisions all for the sake of taking action. It's like your integrity goes out the door. And I hate to say it, but this is bound to happen at some point in your journey. It's almost like a rite of passage. So this is not an episode to say, hey, I've been there. This is a lesson I've learned along the way. Don't make the same mistake. I'm saying, okay, you're going to make this mistake. It's going to happen to you, but there's some things that we can do to fix it. The question is, how do you keep your eye on the prize? How do you keep yourself on the field instead of stepping off? How do you keep yourself out of that desperate energy next time? So the very first thing you need to do is pause. You got to take a deep breath and just take care in determining what you should do next, even if it's uncomfortable. I'll give you a little example from my own business. I had this desperate energy around something that wasn't working a few months ago. I just wanted it fixed. So I was telling my CEO, let's just do this and we can move away from this issue. Let's just make this decision right now. We need to make a decision and let's move on from this. And Jaws, my CEO, bless her soul, because she looked at me, we were on Zoom, and she's a really calm woman. She just has a really cool, calm, confident demeanor. And she said, I'd rather just stay in this feeling of discomfort until we know the right next move. And I just looked at her like, oh, you are so right. As hard as it was for me to do that, it ultimately was the best decision because we were able to come up with a well thought out plan of action. If not, I think we would have hired someone that wasn't right for the team and they would have disrupted a lot of things and they would have been frustrated with us and we would have been frustrated with them. If I would have just said, let's just make a decision, hire this person so we can move past this pain. She's like, ooh, I don't think we're going to do that. So I want to encourage you to get more comfortable with being uncomfortable because in business and entrepreneurship, so much of it is uncomfortable. Like if you're not uncomfortable on a regular basis, you are not really in the thick of it yet. You haven't fully stepped into entrepreneurship. And I know that's a bold statement, but I really do believe it. I don't know one entrepreneur who has had massive success who would say they're comfortable most of the time, unless they are in the real tail end of their career, ready to kind of let it go, retire, whatever that looks like for an entrepreneur, then I think they would say that. But if you're in it right now, I don't think there are many days that you just feel really comfortable with everything you're doing. And if you're not willing to be uncomfortable, what you're going to do is you're going to take action, usually unstrategic action, to avoid feeling what you're feeling, and you're going to end up somewhere where you don't want to be. Now, the second thing you can do to avoid making frantic decisions out of desperate energy is to have a really good mix of live and evergreen or recurring revenue coming. Now, this is where I'm getting a little bit more strategic and in the weeds, but I don't want it all to just be theory or mindset stuff. I really want to get strategic here. So if you have an evergreen product that you can make money with every single day, you can look at ways to ramp that up a little bit more versus having to create something new. Spend more time on optimizing your evergreen offers and increasing the conversion of that offer so that when things don't work out, maybe your live launch doesn't go as planned, your evergreen can make up for some of that revenue gap. I'm all about finding ways to close a revenue gap because I do not hit every goal, obviously, that I set. And so having different things in my business that I could ramp up to make up for it, I'm all about it. Another really great way to supplement your revenue is affiliate marketing. So a few times a year, I will help launch other people's programs. So every year I do the membership experience with Stu McLaren. It's a great fit because it's something I don't offer, but it's fully aligned with what I teach and who my audience is and what they need. It doesn't burn us out. Usually year after year, we can use some of the same assets and just update them. And so we're not always recreating the wheel when we're going to promote the membership experience. And it feels right to me. So it's a boost of revenue that could supplement a gap that might happen. Something else to think about to help pad this revenue gap is micro promos. So for instance, I did a podcast episode with Ray Edwards years ago, where he came on my podcast and we talked about the importance of copywriting. Now, at the end of it, he pitched an evergreen offer for his copywriting program. And we were able to generate $40,000 in commission from one podcast episode. That's not chump change, right? Now, this does not happen with all my podcasts. I wish it did. But then I also don't want to be selling stuff in every podcast I do. But when it's a good fit, yeah, that works for me. So I like these micro promos. It's those lighter lifts, the low-hanging fruit that are going to help you close the gap in your revenue when things don't go according to plan, and they won't go according to plan. But the goal here it's not even really about the revenue gap that you can close, although that's totally great, right? And I'm all about it. It's more of avoiding the desperate energy of, I've got to fix this. I did this wrong. I've got to make it right. I've got to do this and do that. And just kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall without just slowing down and saying, I'm going to feel uncomfortable for a little bit longer until I can strategically put a plan together that feels right for where my business is going. It's not easy, my friend. And this is an elevated strategy that I think usually the people who get this, they've been in business many, many years. But if you're just starting out, be that person that gets it sooner. Because I sure wish I did, and I didn't. I've been very guilty of desperate energy, even a few months ago when my CEO called me out. So I don't think it ever fully goes away, but you can catch it sooner the more often you're aware of it. And nobody wants to work with anybody who has desperate energy. I think that's the last thing I'll say to wrap this up. When you go out, like if you're dating now, if you're single now and you date, or like when I'm thinking about when I was single and I'd go out with a guy, and this quite honestly didn't happen a lot. So just for the record, but I'd go out with a guy and he's just like really eager to be my boyfriend. Again, did not happen a lot, but I can recall a situation and he was just really eager to be like, boyfriend and girlfriend, and he wanted to declare it right away, and he kind of love bombed me right away, and it just felt ick. I didn't really want to be in his presence. Well, when you're thinking about collaborations and building your business and partnering with people, people do not want to do business with desperate energy, and they can sniff it out, the really good entrepreneurs, really quickly. We want cool, calm, confident vibes. You want to do business with people with cool, calm, confident vibes, right? So we need to be that as well. Shedding the desperate energy, be willing to get uncomfortable, take that pause that I talked about. I promise you, more opportunities will come your way. More doors will open up. All right. I hope you love this shorty episode. I always enjoy the short ones because I get to share a little bit behind the scenes of my own experiences and all the mistakes I've made along the way, but also hopefully you get a quick hit of something that you could take into your business right away. I know your time is valuable, and I love that you decided to hang out with me today. Thanks so much. Can't wait to connect with you again on Thursday for more entrepreneurial goodness. Same time, same place. Can't wait.